Good afternoon. I'm Carrie Worthington, Barry Worthington's daughter. Thank you for inviting our family to be a part of today. I'd like to introduce my mom, Louise Worthington. She'd like to say a few words.
Thank you to our daughter, Carrie Worthington, for that lovely introduction. On behalf of the Worthington family, we thank you for the honor of this prestigious recognition of my late husband, my children's father, Barry K. Worthington. Barry's induction into the Energy Efficiency Hall of Fame at the 30th Energy Efficiency Forum is a testament to Barry's life's work to promote an energy efficiency ethic on national and worldwide levels. Barry worked tirelessly to ensure that our shared environment, security, and economic growth were positively impacted by energy efficiency strategies and policies here in the United States and all over the world. We thank all of the staff of the United States Energy Association, the board members, and the USEA community for the outpouring of love, sympathy, and condolences that you bestowed upon us from around the world at the passing of Barry only 3 months ago. I read all of your cards and listened to all of your phone calls and in-person conversations, and I have a clear understanding that everyone considered Barry to be a national and world energy leader. From your voices to mine, from your hearts to mine, I'd like to share with you now what we collectively agree to be what Barry believed in, stood for, and championed. Barry believed in what his mentor, the late Walker Sisler, said many years ago: peace through electricity, which quickly became peace through energy, and most recently, energy for all. Barry believed in this vision for USEA because he believed that energy is a basic human right. It's what keeps vaccines stored in refrigeration until they are ready to be used to help children and adults combat all kinds of diseases all over the world and here in the United States. Energy keeps the lights on so that children can do their schoolwork long after the sun goes down. Energy keeps the world moving forward so that businesses, and most importantly to Barry, relationships, can be built and sustained across countries for the sake of a better tomorrow for future generations. Barry would travel all over the world, sometimes multiple destinations in 1 week, to bring about energy, businesses, and strategies that were green, clean, and cool. Barry built relationships with people in the energy sectors of other countries, countries that some dared not to travel to, but Barry did because he believed in USEA's vision of energy for all. Barry stood for being a mentor. Anyone associated with USEA could call Barry at any time, and he would make himself available to him or her. You had Barry's undivided attention for as long as you needed to talk with him, to discuss issues, concerns, get direction, or sometimes just to clarify thinking. Our children and I know this aspect of Barry very well. Our son Barry and daughter Carrie sought his advice, and he gave them his best perspectives. I myself talk to Barry every day about the joys and challenges of being a middle school principal and all that entails as a leader. Barry was always available to me. He would drop whatever he was doing, wherever he was, just to talk with me. And he always stood by my side. Barry loved and adored his family. Barry admired and respected his USEA staff and the USEA worldwide community. We could all count on Barry because he was our mentor. Lastly, as a Penn State University alumnus, Barry championed Penn State being elevated into the world energy arena as they partnered with USEA in many ways. Through their research and education efforts, Barry advocated for Penn State being at the cutting edge of the next generation of energy leadership. Plus, Barry was Penn State football's biggest fan. We attended many Penn State football bowl games together. Barry championed all aspects of Penn State and the power that education can make in people's lives. We all loved, adored, admired, and respected Barry K. Worthington as he loved, adored, admired, and respected us. We consider him to have been a world energy leader, a loving father, and an adoring husband. His life's work will never be forgotten. On behalf of our son, Barry Worthington, and our daughter, Carrie Worthington, we thank you again for bestowing this prestigious recognition of the induction into the Energy Efficiency Hall of Fame at the 30th Energy Efficiency Forum to the late Barry K. Worthington, Executive Director of the United States Energy Association. And now our son, Barry Worthington, will introduce the video he created in his father's memory for USEA.
Hello. I made this video tribute to my father. Obviously, it was emotional trying to sift through 30 years worth of work, but nonetheless, I actually found it very inspirational, seeing how many people he reached all over the world and seeing how much he believed in his mission. I hope you enjoy. Thank you.
World Energy Council.
All of us associated with the United States Energy Association and the entire U.S. energy industry look forward to welcoming you.
USEA was started in 1924. We're the broadest energy association in the United States. We're also very unique for an association in that we're not an advocacy organization. We don't lobby, we don't engage in regulatory proceedings. We're essentially an educational group.
And that's your prime purpose. But you do something else, something that has grown up during your 30-year tenure here, which didn't exist before, as I understand it, and that is the twinning of American companies with countries overseas for the transference of best practices and showing them how to do it.
Yes, we started this in Eastern Europe in about 1992 when the Berlin Wall was falling down and the world was changing for the communist countries. And we paired a U.S. electric utility with an electric utility in Poland, in Hungary, and what was then still Czechoslovakia. And they entered into a multi-year agreement where the Americans would go to Europe several times a year, and the Europeans would come here several times a year. And they would focus on how you run a modern utility in a market economy, as opposed to running a state-owned company in a communist system. And it had earth-shattering results. We started with 4 of these so-called utility partnerships that very quickly spread through all the rest of Eastern Europe and then around the world.
In having that aspirational goal that's so critical, how do we also bring 1.5 billion people out of energy poverty, people, citizens of the world who today don't have access to electricity, don't have access to transportation fuels, and at the same time aspire to the lifestyle that all of us enjoy. And similarly, how do we deal with the other 1.5 billion people who have inadequate access to energy sources. They don't have affordable, reliable, available supplies of energy. Now, all of you know the answer to this question, and it's no surprise, and that is, we need it all. We need to deploy every type and every volume of renewable energies that we can. We need to take advantage and deploy the full array of options before us in terms of nuclear energy. We need to deploy and take advantage of our vast resources of every variety of fossil fuels. And that, I believe, is what we're gonna see that we're gonna do. We need it all, and we need it to be affordable. We need it to be reliable. We need it to be sustainable. We need our energy supplies to contribute to energy security, and we need our energy supplies to contribute to job creation.
The world needs the United States and China to be getting along with each other. We can't tolerate a situation where we're not friends.
You travel incredibly yourself. In
Yes.
fact, I have known in journalism and politics and government, people who traveled a lot, people in the State Department, but I don't think I've ever known anyone who traveled as much as you do. And I've heard that you go to a foreign country, have a meeting, and get back on the same airplane when it turns around and come back. And that you would do this in China or Indonesia. Is that true?
It's true. I, more often stay at least one night. But for example, this spring, I'll do speeches in Germany and in South Africa and return right away from those engagements. I have done 200,000 miles a year for 15 years in a row at least. Last year I was a little bit down. I only was about 150,000 miles.
On behalf of all of us, thank you.